Hi guys, I'm April Bartlett. This is Bruce Ham with HHRG, and we are going to dive into this new podcast series called Beyond the Sale, a Realtors Story. It's a Bolt Mortgage podcast hosted by yours truly, April. We're going to listen to Bruce's story, how he got into real estate, what he has seen, what he is seeing into the future. So we're just going to dive right in. Is that good?
Yeah, sounds good. I'm ready.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
This is a new concept for us both, so we'll just bear with us.
It is. So this place is amazing. I mean,
thank you.
It's a really nice place.
Yeah, our marketing director has set up a studio for your team. You can use it. Anybody can come in and schedule time. You can actually book it online, and it's free for you. Yeah.
That is awesome.
I know.
You have my initial right there.
There you go. Just get like an H too. That'd be awesome. Or like an HHRG, real big.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. You just bring your own sign.
Take over the world.
Awesome. So we're going to dive into some specific questions that I created to really get deep and learn more about you. First thing is, what inspired you to get into real estate, and how has your motivation evolved over time? Also with that, how long have you been in real estate?
Okay. That's a great question. Has a funny story behind it. So I've been in the business for 18 years. Okay. So I started when I was 23 years old. Should I date myself? I don't know. Anyway.
Math is hard. It's fine.
But I started when I was 23, 18 years ago. My brother called me. I was working. I used to work as a social worker. Right? We did like youth work and youth outreach and things like that. Did a lot of work.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it was fantastic. But my brother called me one day. He was like, hey, I'm going to this seminar. You want to go with me? I'm like, okay, sure, no problem. I'll go. I didn't even know what it was. Right. So it ended up being one of those get-rich-quick scheme type of real estate things,
The multi-level marketing things?
No, it was called Russ Whitney. Russ Whitney's wholesaling strategies. It was, long story short, they got us in a room. They were trying to sell us their program. They were teaching us how to like raise our credit card limit so we could buy their program. It was crazy. But what came out of that, we didn't sign up for the program. But what came out of that is that me and my brother realized like, hey, there's something here in real estate. Mm-hmm. So, and then from there, we decided, okay, let's go in together and do a family business. Mm-hmm. I'll sell and he does the loans. Oh. Okay, and so that's how we originally started. We wanted it to be a family business. Right. And so that was in 2006.
Okay.
Right? Yep. So we got into the business in 2006. And 2007, what happened? Market crash.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So everything, went to crap. And, here we are, family business, and we're trying to make it. I did really well in that market. Actually, that's where I made my name, where everybody was getting out. Right. I was excelling. And so, but for loans, it was very different. Mm-hmm. And so for lenders, it was tough as nails, and they were changing, all these rules and all these regulations.
Well, huge federal guidelines came out in 2008.
That still affect us now.
Yeah. It affected me when I was taking my LO test.
Yep. and so I stayed in and he got out.
Okay.
Is what happened. So I kept going. It originally started as a family business, but, being that my background was in social work and like helping kids and things like that, it really just kind of lent well into real estate, right?
Right. Well, yeah.
I'm just helping big kids now.
Just big kids.
So, yeah.
Preach. Yes.
So that's how it happened, and then it just kind of went nonstop from there. I was actually the Rookie of the Year in my first year in the state of Texas.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I sold 36 homes my first year. Right out the gate. And then I sold the second year, I think I sold like 45 homes. Then I went to 50 homes. Then I went to 60 homes. I stayed pretty much at 50, 60 homes a year for probably like 4 or 5 years.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. But then I realized it's not a life.
That's
right? Like
true.
you really don't have a life when you're, I was a solo agent at that time.
Okay.
No assistant, no nothing. It was just me doing 50, 60 deals by myself and transacting everything.
Right. Well, and y'all didn't have virtual assistants back then.
No.
I mean, it was paper contracts.
Yeah, we didn't even have iPhones.
Right.
Like,
right.
What the hell?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a tough thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so, 5 years of that, it got kind of tiring.
Right.
I was making all this money and then I couldn't enjoy it because I was just married to the business. I was just every day, Monday through Sunday,
Yeah.
waking up in the morning, making offers, writing contracts at midnight. Like, it was not a life.
Right.
Right. So then I realized, okay, I need to do something. So then I tried to hire an assistant, and then that didn't work out. I didn't know what I was doing. I just hired an assistant and thinking that was going to work out.
Right.
Didn't really work out the way I thought. Right. And so, 6 months later, I realized that was a bust.
Yeah.
Then I tried to hire a buyer's agent at that point, and that also didn't work out well because I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I needed help.
Right.
Right. And so I ended up losing money there too. Because I didn't know how to structure it. I didn't know about agreements and things like that. It was like a handshake deals.
Right.
So that
it's like someone's daughter or a buddy's, someone you know or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an expensive mistake. But that's okay. And then from there, I decided, okay, now I need to learn, how to build a team.
Yeah.
And so then I went to a brokerage that teaches how to build teams, KW. They wrote the book on it.
They really did.
Yeah.
I think for new agents, that's not a bad step.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you are a very successful solo, but as a team lead, it's a whole different aspect of building.
Yes. So and then I basically went in and did everything they taught me to do. I was just, tell me what to do and I'll do it. That's how I am. I don't like to question, other people who have done it before me. You don't want to question them, right?
I agree with that.
You just listen and follow because they've been there. Yeah. So that's what I did. And that next year, I hired an assistant, and I went to 83 transactions that year. And then the following year, I went to 115 transactions. It was the first time I broke 100. And then I've broken 100 ever since.
Oh
right? So, yeah. I think at my peak, I think we sold like 220 homes in 1 year.
In a year?
Mm-hmm.
How large is your team now?
So my team right now is 5. We're a Navy SEAL team. We're a team of 5.
Oh my gosh, that's
specialists.
awesome.
Yeah, and so, it took me, a few years to build that up. Yeah, and I've had my team for about 8 years. Wow. Oh no, wait, hold on, 10 years.
The same team?
I've had my team for 10 years. Yeah, and
that is such an accomplishment in this industry because buyers, agents, things like that, they're to stay with a team that long. I mean, it says something about the leadership.
Yeah,
so,
thank you. I appreciate that. And,
course.
I value everybody that's been on my team,
awesome.
Past and present, of course.
Yeah.
But I have had people that have been with me since day one, and I really, really appreciate them. And if they're listening, I love y'all. Thank y'all.
Job,
I appreciate
guys.
y'all. So, but,
that.
you can do a lot of great things when you have a team of people, right? And everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. That's what that's what I went to the brokerage to learn.
Yeah.
And then after I learned it, I decided, okay, it's time to move on to the next chapter, next step. So
that's very cool. Yeah. I love that. That's
a
good story. And then it's just growing and growing. I mean, you're still so young, so imagine what it's going to lead to. Yeah, that's awesome. So we'll move on to what's the biggest misconception people have about real estate agents? Because I hear all the time, well, why don't you just get your real estate license? I'm like, I don't want any part of that. It's a lot what y'all do because you're putting yourself out there. You're driving a business that's non-existent, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're creating something out of nothing.
Right.
Right. And so common misconceptions, I mean, there's quite a few of them. I think a lot of people think we're just glorified door openers. Right. That we just show houses and that's all our job. Oh, it's easy. Oh, your job is just showing houses.
Disrespectful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's public perception. They don't know what they don't know. They're watching Selling Sunset and making, their inferences there, right?
Right.
And so, unfortunately, it isn't like that in the real world. We have to actually prepare for our presentations. We have to learn. We have to do our research on the properties. The marketing that goes into it, dealing with the clients, dealing with the agents, handling the issues that arise, being available for your clients 24/7. I mean, most people, when they leave work, they don't want to be called.
Right.
Right? Where, it's expected for a realtor to answer their phone after hours, on the weekends, on Sundays, 12 o'clock at night. I've even gotten a call at 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And so I pick and choose who I answer to, but, if it's something important, you need to take care of it.
Absolutely.
I think that's one of the misconceptions.
I think a big thing is, to us, we know it's not an emergency, right? Mm-hmm. There are no emergencies in real estate is what it says. But to our clients, to them, it is. And we have to be a little more maybe sympathetic towards that. And so those frantic calls at midnight, yes, we can avoid some of those. And most people, I think, respect those boundaries. But every once in a while, I mean, when I was with Mercedes, I would get calls for somebody's S-Class that, you know, something was wrong or they accidentally turned the power off, and it was just, what's happening to my car?
Yeah. And I think that you can design your business how you want.
Yeah.
Right? It's really important that as you're building your business, that you build it the way you want it, right? You design it the way you want it to be. In other words, you can ask a client, like, hey, just so you know, Sundays is my family time. Yeah. You know, it's off limits. I appreciate, you know, your business, but Sundays is my family time, and I hope you can respect that. And most people do. Yeah. Right?
Every now and then those boundaries are set. They respect it.
Absolutely. You know, because it's reasonable and realistic to say, hey, I'm going to take off Sunday for my family. Right. You know, and that's important to me.
But if it's a Tuesday at 2:00 and you're avoiding calls or things like that, I do think, sometimes it is a business, like you said, and we do need to be client forward and service driven, and we're here for them. But setting those boundaries up front, I think, works well.
Yeah, setting expectations is 100% the way to go, and really that's key with everything, is just setting expectations and communication, right? Having good communication.
So you're not a glorified door opener.
No, I'm not.
I love that. So speaking of service and experience, how do you create a luxury experience for your clients, even if they're, because I know you handle with a lot of high volume or high priced homes, I guess. So when you're not dealing with a luxury client, how do you still give that experience to somebody who's looking, you know, for $300,000-$400,000 range?
Yeah, so I do a lot of luxury, but I like to, you know, I don't think that anybody is, you know,
in a box.
Yes, it's not luxury is not a price tag. Yeah. I think that's the best way to explain it. Luxury is not a price tag. It's a service that you provide.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a service that you provide. In other words, like, it's how you make the client feel. It's your communication with them. Are you providing a concierge level service, right? You know, that's what they want as a luxury client. They want that service, that availability. Yeah. You know, are you professional? Are you dressed professionally? Do you handle yourself professionally? Is your presentation on point? Do you have a excellent presentation? Or I don't know the best way to say it.
Like a strategy to work with every client, no matter the price tag.
Yes. Yeah. But you know, whenever you're dealing with luxury, you just have to be on your game. Oh yeah. Right. That's the most important thing, and that's what they want. Yeah. They don't care if you drive a fancy car. They don't care if you're this or that, or what shoes you wear, or what clothes you wear. They care about the service that you provide and the knowledge that you have to give them, right?
Knowledge is definitely big when you get into that market. Yeah. You know, I mean, I feel like they're educated buyers. Usually if they're looking above like a $2 million, it's not their first home. Yes. And if your first home is $2 million, that's amazing and good job.
Yeah. But you know, and I have a story about that too. Okay. So not every client is a luxury client right off the bat. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you a story. I did a deal probably about 8-9 years ago. It was a very small house. Yeah. Very small. It was an Edo before Edo became Edo. Oh, nice. and it was like a $50,000 house, right? $50,000 house. You know, I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll list it, whatever. I don't, you know, it doesn't matter what it is. If I can sell it, I'm going to sell it. Right. So $50,000 house, somebody comes and says they want to buy it cash. They want to buy it for their mom. Right. So like, I'm okay, great. Right. Sell this $50,000 house cash, sell it to you. Yeah. And I built a relationship with them, with their family, their brothers. Yeah. And they were starting out with their business and things like that. Yeah. And so that was the first house that they bought. And what you have to realize is if somebody has $50,000 cash to buy a house, that means they have a little bit more. Right. They're not going to just use all their money to buy it. Right. So, you know, over the years, they would buy like an investment property here and there. It was still during the foreclosure period, so I was selling a few foreclosures here and there, 80,000, 100,000, you know, nothing major. But as time went, and as, you know, real estate went up or what have you, you know, those purchases became bigger, right? So what began as a $50,000 sale, you know, several deals later,
It's millions of dollars.
I recently closed the biggest sale this year so far, $1.8 million property for them.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they buy properties from me almost every year.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love those stories because I think life is cyclical, you know, and how we treat somebody today is how it's reflected 10 years, you know?
That's right.
I mean, we really can make a difference in helping and giving them that service. Of thinking 50,000, most people are going to be like, okay, I'll have my team member do it. Or
yes.
Yeah, but you maybe saw something and it was fate.
Well, you know, it's the service you provide is the
Right.
thing. It doesn't matter the price tag.
Yeah.
If you hold yourself to certain standards and values, the
Right.
clients will see that. And that's why they kept coming back. And then, so I guess the moral of the story is, you know, grow with your clients and they become luxury.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
You know, they don't start out as being luxury
Right.
sometimes, but if you keep the relationship with them and you keep, the communications and everything and
Right.
providing value for them, later on down the line, they will, you know.
And providing that value and that education on, you know, young investors too.
Yep.
Because right now if you're a realtor, you're usually considering investing as well. And I think the everyday workers and things like that are doing that now too.
Yes.
Everybody wants a real estate portfolio. So if you can add that education and build an investment for your clients, I think that helps as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
I love that.
Me
so
too.
Now, speaking about the industry, so if you could change one thing about real estate industry in Houston, let's stick to our market.
Okay.
What would it be and why?
Oh, God. Okay. So if I were to change one thing in the industry, and it doesn't have to be local, I think what I would like to change is across the board.
Okay.
It's how we co-broke. How we co-broke with each other. So what I've always said is that the toughest thing about this business is not, real estate. It's the agents on the other side of the deal.
Okay.
For some, there's a lot of different personalities that are in real estate, right? And, they get their license. And, I think that we lose sight over time, or maybe we have a bad misconception of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But, it doesn't have to be, where we're against each other.
Right.
Right. I think a lot of agents think, oh, well, we're negotiating against each other. We're not working with each other. We're against each other. And it doesn't need to be that way. Matter of fact, it has the opposite effect.
It does.
Right. When you do that, the whole transaction is affected.
Yeah.
And so my wish is for people to remind themselves that this is co-broke for a reason.
Yeah.
Right? It's called cooperating broker. We cooperate with each other. We respect each other. We help each other.
Right.
We're in this together.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think a lot of agents lose sight of that, and maybe they're, they've been in the business, a while, and they've experienced great success, and they get a little bit of an ego kind of thing. I would just hope that whoever's listening, really receives the message of like, hey, it doesn't matter what logo is on your business card. Right. We're all in it to win it.
Oh, I love that. I can see that, especially from a lender standpoint. I love the transactions when everybody gets along.
Yeah.
It's so nice. And the opposite of that, I try to stay out of it as much as I can, but I still have my borrowers that I get very protective of. And I was a realtor for 9 years. Mm-hmm. So I want to jump in and be like, whoa, okay, we all have the same goal. And it's to help, whether it's the sellers move on or the buyers move in. Like, that's everybody's goal. So just be kind.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And when you do that, whenever a problem arises and you have that communication with the other agent on the other side, you're able to come to resolution a lot faster with a lot less stress and a lot less back and forth. Yeah. So just reminding ourselves that we are co-broking. We're cooperating with each other.
Go cooperate.
Yes. Play nice in the sandbox.
Right. It's a big sandbox, but it's, not that big.
But, what some people don't realize is if you're going to plan on being in the business long enough, you're going to come across certain agents, many times over the years. Good agents know who they, come across each other all the time. And so you got to play nice in the sandbox because you don't never know when you're on the other side of the deal.
And if you see that person's name, it could just be like, oh, man, I get that. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's a good point there. Okay. So next, what trends or changes are you most excited about in real estate market? I have concern too, but let's stick to the positive. What are you excited about?
Okay. What am I excited about?
This.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about this.
Yeah. So
a few years ago, I used to say, like, hey, when I was teaching new agents and things like that, I would tell them, like, hey, when you're building out your business plan, social media is great, but it's not the end all be all. I used to say it's the icing on the cake. It's like the extra you get from the other things that you're doing to lead generate, open houses, making calls, expires for sell-by owners, whatever it is. Those were the main lead sources. And that was my thought process for a long time. Yeah. Well, that has changed. Yeah. Ever since COVID, it's been backwards, right? Yeah. Social media has exploded into a massive lead generation tool.
Right.
Massive. And it's the most cost-effective way to reach a client. All the eyes are on social. All the eyes are on the phone, right? So I think that's probably the most exciting trend. Yeah. I've changed my thought process on that. I've changed my opinion about that now. Okay. I think social media needs to be in the forefront of your business plan, of your business model, where before I used to say, hey, it's the icing on the cake. Don't rely on this. Yeah. And so...
Yeah, because you've seen it. You've been firsthand at watching it change into this kind of... Everyone, they would love to go to an open house, but sometimes life gets in the way, kids, stuff like that, but they can open Facebook and see... a virtual tour that's given, and it's your face is there, and you're talking, so they get to know you without having to pack the kids up or, put the dog in the kennel and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that one video can be seen thousands of times over years where, I'm making 100 phone calls a day, and that's that day, and the next day I have to start over. So there is a little bit of a difference there.
Yeah, and telemarketing is terrible. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's a lot with like the bot calls, things like that. I don't know if I need to change my mindset, but I just can't get into, the bot calling. It really takes that. I'm such a personable person, and service is so important to me. It's been difficult, but with social media, my whole business, because I got licensed in 2020, so my whole business was COVID-based, basically. So I started boosting ads on Facebook, started getting on Instagram. I didn't private message people just because I think it needs to happen authentically, where partnerships and true relationships are built authentically. But seeing them out in public after, they know you. 4 people today came up to me and they were like, oh my gosh, April, we're friends on Facebook. I'm like, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. And I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the moment I realized that is the moment that I realized that I needed to go to a brokerage that really kind of exemplified that. And so then I made the switch from my previous brokerage to the one I'm at now. Because
you can say what brokerage you're at.
It's okay. I want it to be broker.
Oh, that's cool.
So, but basically, that's when I decided to make the switch. Because when I realized everything is going that way, then you need to surround yourself with people who are doing it successfully already. And that's what I
like you did with the team leading.
Yes.
Years. Oh,
that's exactly right. Yeah.
I love that.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Cyclical.
Yep.
That's cool.
So, adaptability is key. And I've been in the business for 18 years. And probably the biggest takeaway I can say is you have to be adaptable because the market's going to change whether you like it or not. And if you don't change with it, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah.
So
be frugal and adaptable.
Yeah. And embrace technology.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
Which, speaking of, that is probably one of my biggest concerns as well. Okay. It's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, but AI.
Oh, right.
AI
that leads into the concern.
Yeah. AI in real estate is probably the most exciting and scary thing at the same time, right?
That's what Elon Musk says.
Yeah.
That's his number one fear is AI.
It really is. And so it's great. I think that there is a purpose for AI across the board, but in real estate, there is definitely a purpose for it. And what I've been learning or what I've been hearing and growing with is that you can utilize AI in a way to where I can be 10 times more efficient than I can be without that type of technology.
Right.
So that excites me.
That is
but
cool.
the thing that concerns me is being too reliant on AI. Right?
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's this new thing where you don't even, it's not even you speaking. It's like AI is generating you as a person. But yeah, it's generating your face and you're talking. But then what happens if when you are in front of a client and they're expecting that same level of, without the as well, and they've only seen this AI version of you.
Yes, that is definitely one component of it. I mean, AI is like, it's trickling into every part of our life at this point, right?
Yeah.
And whether we know it or like it or not, it's happening.
Yeah.
And so the other thing that I think is we need to be careful with, because I believe in AI. I think that, there is a place for it.
Yeah.
But we need to be careful to be too reliant on it to the point where we're losing our human connection with the client. Because the relationship that you have with the client is more important.
That's what they're going to hold on to for their next transaction and their next one. I always tell people I don't want to just be your lender for this one. I want to be who you come to when your aunt is buying a house in Connecticut and she has a loan question. I want to be that resource for you. And I think AI could take away from that connection.
Yeah. But there's so many benefits from AI. I think they do overweigh some of the concerns. I just think that whoever's in charge of the powers above.
Who are you looking at?
They, like the AI gods.
Yes.
Whoever's in charge of the AI, regulations.
Right.
They just need to be careful with privacy and things like that.
Very true.
So that's the only concern. But overall, I think there's a lot of pros. There's a lot more
It's so
positives.
fun. Yeah. It's really fun to see, like, if you have any questions or anything. And, I mean, sometimes the AI, all of a sudden, Alexa will just start playing peaceful music in my house. I don't know if I told you that before. But I was texting with Natasha, a mutual friend of ours, and I was telling her I'm so stressed out. And all of a sudden, texting, Alexa is like, I feel you are tense. Would you like some positive vibes? And she just started playing positive meditation throughout my house. And I was like really freaked out at first, but then I'm like, you know what? I was stressed. And now I'm not.
That is badass. I love
I'm
that.
so okay with it. I'm like, Alexa, tell me what to do today. Yeah. Like, just, that's funny.
Can we tell Alexa to wash the dishes too? Alexa, wash the dishes, please.
I tried. She won't do it. Take the dog out. Okay, so, cut, edit, start. So our next question, how do you handle tough conversations like advising clients to lower their asking price?
Okay, that's a really good question. And I believe that you have to earn the right to do that, right? Like, so in other words, if you're going to have a tough conversation with the client about a price reduction, you have to earn the right to do that, right? And the way you earn the right is through constant communication, right? Through, have you been doing your diligence? For example, do you call the client every week? Or do you just call them every now and then? Right? How many times have you spoken to your seller since you put property on the market? I've made a commitment a long time ago to talk to my sellers, come hell or high water, every week.
Do you pick a specific day? Or pick a specific
every Friday.
Day? Yeah.
Every Friday is I call it updates, seller updates.
Okay.
And I think that's my best way to handle the volume that I do. Yeah. Is to say, okay, Friday is for this. Yeah. And then I set the client expectation with that. And every week I do that. So what happens is, because I'm expected to call every week, then they're going to ask me, well, how do those showings go? Right. So I need to go back and make sure I get all the feedback for the showings. Right. That's one of the biggest complaints about real estate agents. They don't communicate, right? And so communication is super important. That's what I mean by earning the right. Yeah. If you don't earn the right by communicating with them weekly, giving them weekly reports, giving them updated CMAs, staying in touch with them, you can't just call them out of the blue 5 months later and say, well, we got to drop the price. Right. That's not going to go over well. But if you've had, 0 showings this week, and okay, let's monitor it next week, and then we had 0 showings next week. Well, if this happens another week, we really probably need to adjust the price. The market is telling us that we need to adjust.
So you're kind of preparing them after a certain point of, this is where we're going, this may happen. But you've earned your right because you've done your due diligence, you've done your job.
That's right. And you're absolutely right. Preparation is key to everything. And so when I go to the listing appointment and I suggest a price, and they say, well, I really wanted to get more, or I had a number in mind and it wasn't that. Yeah. What I tell them is, okay, well, we can try that price for a little bit, but just know that this is the number that I'm suggesting. And if we don't get the results that you want in whatever allotted time that we agreed to, then we probably need to make an adjustment at that time. So a lot of clients want to try, they have things in their mind.
I'd be like, $50 million.
Yeah. And I'm like, yes, I'd love to sell it.
But it's really two.
Yeah. So setting the expectations up front, letting them know, like, okay, well, I do think that the price should be here, but we'll try your way and see how it works. And if it doesn't, we'll monitor it weekly. Yeah. Right. And that's how you earn the right. Yeah. You earn the right by communicating constantly and setting those expectations, and then, of course, doing the research. Maybe you need to do an updated market analysis, because things have changed in 2 months, right? So all that's earning the right to ask for the price reduction.
I also feel like, the tough conversations aren't going to go away. Right. They're not going to disappear. So if you can set yourself up for success and having those tough conversations, it's just going to make your job easier. And it's going to make your sellers or your buyers feel a lot more comfortable. I see a lot of people shy away, or they don't answer their phone, or they're basically ghosting their client because they're so afraid to have that conversation. Sometimes you just have to say, hey, this isn't working out, or I'm not that into you. Yeah. And you move on and we find a solution.
Is that what you do?
Absolutely, 100%. Yes, I'm very straightforward. But I know in this industry, I respect people enough to tell them the truth and to say, listen, here's where you are, here's where you need to be, here's how you can get there, and I'm going to help you along the way.
Absolutely. And I also believe that when you set expectations and you communicate constantly and frequently, you have less problems.
100%.
You have less problems. The clients trust you more. You're building more trust with them. And so when you suggest something, they're not, they're not trying to go against that, or, they trust you more to say, okay, yes, let's go ahead and do that.
Well, because they've been in it with you, right? Y'all have been on this journey together. You created, like, okay, we're a team, me and my sellers, and we're going to get there. But,
Yep.
I love that.
And then on the other side, like when I'm dealing with a tough issue in general on a deal, and I have to write a real firm email, so to speak, because I think we've all been in that situation when you're in real estate.
I've never backspaced.
My best suggestion, this is my best suggestion, this is what I do all the time. I'll write it out, and then I'll just wait maybe like, a few hours. I'll let it sit there, and then I'll go back and read it to make sure that it's what I want to communicate and it's what I want to convey. The tone is right and everything. I think that's real key, because a lot of times when you have a big problem arise, we get emotional.
Yes.
Right? We get emotional, and then all of a sudden you get to the keyboard, and your keyboard is emotional, and then your email is emotional. And we really need to leave the emotions at the door, because it's not about us. It's about the client and the deal.
It's so hard for me to do that.
Try it.
No, I do. Like, my therapist has even said, okay, if you're still upset about this tomorrow, then we're going to have a conversation. Yeah, and I'm never upset about the thing I was upset. Like, exactly. I'll write it sometimes at night, and then when I wake up in the morning, I'll try to revise it, and then I'll send it. That is so smart. It's a great, Sleep on it before hitting
sleep
send.
On it, absolutely.
I love that.
Those words they live forever.
Yes. So let's see. I think we're getting close to the end, but next question is, what strategies do you use to manage stress and maintain that work-life balance, especially during a busy season?
So going back to how I started my team, I was working like crazy. I was a single agent, didn't have any time. I had stress, a lot of stress. And I had money, but I had no time. Right? And so partnering up with the team really helped me with that, because and then, having an assistant first and foremost really is the game changer. So for all of you out there that are struggling with your business in regards to time and stress, try hiring an assistant. It'll change your world. So absolutely.
I love that.
And so, getting a team behind you, maybe hiring an assistant here and there to help you with some of the minutia of real estate will really help. But aside from that, burnout is real in real estate. I think last year I burned out like 2 or 3 times from just going and going and going and going. My phone rings nonstop. And so, and the requests are nonstop as well too. So, burnout is real, and you really have to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be good for any of your clients.
What do they say? Don't get so busy making a living, you forget to make a life.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. And so what I'll do is, I practice a miracle morning. So I'll wake up early, and then I'll do some meditation. I zen out. I'll do some yoga, or I'll just meditate for like 10, 15 minutes. Just kind of take that time for me, right? Without having to scroll on my phone or anything.
Right.
And then I work out in the morning. So I do that pretty much every day. That's good. To help manage it's to help manage the stress.
I know. I'm like, because I wake up and I'm a miracle morning person. Yeah. But mine is more, I wake up at 4:40 every day, just because by 6 a.m., my day is going. Yeah. It's kids and dog and work and all of that. But that hour in the morning where I'm not on Facebook, no digital time, I'm sitting outside usually with a cup of coffee and just praying or meditating, or it's so important. And I've done that since I was like 22.
It's precious time. And it'll make a big difference in your mood for the rest of the day. Yeah. And you're taking time to do something for yourself. Which we don't do. We don't do that enough. And when it gets really bad and I'm at burnout, I'll try to reconnect with nature. That's like my thing. Like anywhere I can go with water, I'm good. Yeah. So, like whether I'm going to a beach and just kind of walking, along the shore, listening to the waves, that's the kind of stuff that I think really kind of centers you. Yeah. Right. And brings you back down to reality, I think it gives you perspective. Definitely. A lot of times I'm a mountain girl. Like I lived 15 years in the Appalachians. So the mountains are my beach, I guess you could say. I go there and you realize just how small you are and insignificant, and things just have a much lighter perspective when you are around nature. So I get that. And how beautiful life is around you, right? We don't take enough time to look at that. Especially in the concrete jungle of Houston. Amen to that, it's a lot. So that's what I do, and it really helps to take that time away and just say like, hey, this weekend I really can't take any more appointments. Do you put it on your calendar? Like I put everything on my calendar. Yes, everything is on my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. At 6:04. Everything is on my calendar. If you look at it, you're gonna be like, "What the hell is that?" Do you time block? Yes. Okay. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I have to time block everything or else, because I have so much demand on my time. Right. If I don't, then I disappoint somebody. Like, I forgot to do this. I'm not prepared for this appointment. Right. Because I didn't. I'm so glad you made this appointment. That's awesome. I time block for it. Thank you. Am I on the time block? You sure are. That's how you know you've made it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that's amazing. So the last thing is, and we'll close this series because I know you've got your time block. Yeah. But what advice would you give to someone interested in starting a real estate career today in this market? Okay, so that's a loaded question, but it's definitely something I can help with. So the first thing, of course, is get educated and get licensed. I think that's, first and foremost. And really, to all the real estate schools out there, it doesn't really matter where you get your license from, just as long as you get your license, because getting your license is one education, right? It's the laws, the legalities, the contracts. But then your second education starts when you choose your first brokerage, right? How to sell, how to treat a client, how to build your business. And so the second thing you need to do is really be careful on which brokerage you choose. Yeah. That brokerage needs to have support. It needs to have training, right? Extensive trainings. It needs to be a good cultural fit. A lot of people don't think about that, right? You want to go to a brokerage that you feel like, this is my vibe, right? I feel good here, because the people you surround yourself with are going to influence your business. Yeah. And so you want to make sure that you find the right cultural fit. That is super key. Find the right cultural fit. But making sure that your brokerage has all those things. Then you need to learn how to business plan. A lot of new agents don't do that, or don't realize that yes, you're joining a brokerage and you're under the umbrella of a company. It might be a big brand. However, you are still your own business within that company.
Very true.
Right? You're an independent contractor. You 1099. You're writing things off. You're paying taxes.
Yeah.
So, financial literacy is important, right? And learning the tax laws and things like that.
There's so many aspects.
Definitely.
Right.
And so that's another component of as well, the business planning side of it, making sure that that's the first thing you need to do. Like, where are my leads coming from? Decide that then.
Right.
What am I going to spend my dollars on? And that's the other thing too.
And budget.
Yes, a budget.
Yeah.
One of my biggest suggestions for new agents is like, hey, don't sign up for that shiny object right out the gate.
Right.
There is ways you can make money before having to spend thousands of dollars on this widget or this lead generation tool or the Zillows of the world, all those things. Yeah. Start out with your clients, your sphere, your family, your friends.
Yeah.
Right? Then once you build your business that way, lead with the money that you make, lead with revenue.
Yeah.
And so that's the best way to do it. And I would also say that you need to be prepared for not making any money for a few months. Yeah. I don't think I said this before, but I didn't make my first dollar for 6 months.
Yeah, that's how I was and that's how I looked at it with lending too. It's the first 6 months, you need to have reserves.
Yeah.
You need to have something that isn't going to take away your time from building your business, but you can still pay your bills with. I mean, life still happens, right?
Yep, absolutely. So that's super key.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things that you can do as well, but I think just learning how to manage your business properly, deciding what your lead generation strategy is, surrounding yourself with the right people, and continually learning. I think that's the other thing too that a lot of new agents don't realize is that they get out of real estate school and they're gassed. They're like, oh, I'm done with the books.
Right.
But real estate is a continual education.
Well, like with the new law about the compensation and all of that, if you're not up to date on what's happening, especially with your state, you're going to be lost.
Yeah, and you can take the class this month, and then 3 months down the line, that class is going to be updated and changed, and you might need to take it again. So a mindset of growth, a mindset of saying, hey, my learning has not stopped. I need to continue to educate myself. That is how you become the knowledge broker. That's how you become valuable to your clients, is by continually seeking it out.
Right.
One of my biggest, my secret sauce, or like one of the things that really kind of set me apart from everybody is that I made sure that I went to every real estate seminar that I can go to, like educational, real estate coaching training.
Right, yeah.
Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, all those things.
I like them.
Yeah, so I made a point every year to attend seminars in regards to, improving my skill. Right. So that was really key for me. A lot of agents are like, I don't need that. I don't want to do that.
Well, and it's good networking opportunities too with out-of-state realtors and stuff like that.
Out-of-state realtors and, just kind of getting in a room with, realtors across the nation. You can hear ideas that are working in other markets that you can then implement in yours. And so you just need one good idea to pay for the whole conference. But continually seeking that out, not sitting on your laurels or, just being content, just because, I'm selling 100 plus homes a year doesn't mean that my education has stopped. I actually seek more education at that point because now I'm trying to figure out how to get to 2, how to get to 3, how to build my team and, have more and get my time back, things like that. And so the education doesn't stop.
I feel like you're the type of guy that if you won the lottery, you would just try to double it.
Hell yeah.
Instead of just resting on the 200 million. You're now let's see what we can do.
Absolutely, that'd be more fun.
That's what I always say. I'm like, when that question is asked, I'm like, I'll double it. I'll try to find a way to double the lottery. Yeah.
So for all you new agents out there, it's a tough business out there, but if you just focus on doing the right thing for your client, not thinking about the commission, but thinking about what's right for the client, and you're educated, and you show up, and you dress up, and you're prepared, and you have your presentation on point, you're going to make it. It's a tough business, but, if you do these things, it's going to set you apart.
I love that. Oh, well, thank you so much.
Yes,
I think this was awesome. Yeah? You good?
I'm good.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, so you can watch this whole podcast on my YouTube channel. I'll have the link below. I'll also have a link to Bruce's website, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then my contact information. We look forward to seeing y'all's comments, and only positivity, because negativity will get deleted.